Hello and welcome to the webinar hosted today by the Accommodation Centre. My name is Iram. I'm the Accommodation Manager and I'm going to be talking you through the provisions for the Accommodation Centre, what we provide and how we can help you on your journey to Brunel University. We look forward to welcoming each and every one of you. Okay, just to give you an introduction of what we do. The Accommodation Centre is divided into two parts. So we have our own Brunel student lettings team. This team manages the provisions for the off-campus properties. We have a selection of properties within 2-mile radius that are managed by Brunel. Therefore, you have your contract with Brunel University. Currently, we've got about 60 properties which we manage within the local area, all within a 2-mile radius to the university. So within that team, we offer a rent guarantee scheme to the landlords, low deposits, so it's matched at the same as campus, which is £250. We have the university support system for students as well, manage the maintenance, the invoicing, anything to do with your contracts and marketing of these properties as well. Moving on to our Brunel campus rooms, we currently manage 4,550 rooms on campus. Our team is responsible for the pre-arrival, so we will be there to help you with the application process and have a look at your application, then allocate your rooms for the coming session in September. We're responsible for issuing the license agreements, so if you have any queries to do with your license or any concerns, we have an experienced team who can help you with that. As pre-arrival, we are your first point of contact for accommodation. That includes anything to do with your rent, or if you've got concerns about how you foresee, staying on campus will look like, we can give you information about that. We also deal with contractual issues. So if you've got any concerns about anything in your contract, because obviously it is a legal contract and sometimes you do need to understand it a little bit more of what the legal terms are, we have the staff available that can advise you on that if you are unsure about anything. We also offer year-round accommodation. So if you have got a contract that is only until June, you're an undergraduate student, then you do have the option to stay on campus for the summer. We have a separate summer application process for that, but students are welcome to apply and stay. We also manage any room exchanges. So if, for instance, you get allocated a room and it may not be the preference that you wanted, we can look into changing that, or sometimes you move in and it might not be the flat that you wanted, or a common question is that I'm not getting along with my flatmates, or I just want to be on a different side of the block. We can look into doing that for you as well. So just to give you another overview of the accommodation centre, we are responsible in planning of the 4,500 rooms we've got on campus. Therefore, our halls of residences are planned in such a way that we have areas that are for postgraduates and areas that are for undergraduate freshers and for returning students. We try our best to put you in the appropriate area so you get the best experience for coming and staying at Brunel University. We organise the applications for freshers and returners. So as you will be joining us in September, we'll obviously put you with other fresher students, and then in your second and third year of accommodation, you do get the opportunity to apply for a room for the coming sessions, and there are separate deadlines as a returning student. So every year, each student has the opportunity to apply for a room. We then would allocate rooms to students and send the offers out. All our offers accommodation are sent via email. You can log on to the Accommodation Centre hub once you receive this and just accept your license agreement. Including in this will be pre-arrival information for all those living on campus. So we will state, what is provided, a list of things that aren't, things that you may need to get, just so that you're prepared when you come in for September. Again, dealing with contractual issues, so any concerns, please just email us or get on the chat and we can address those issues straight away for you. We're also responsible for invoicing you correctly. So once you are allocated a room, the information is then passed on to the finance team, who would generate the invoice for your accommodation. Throughout the year, we also sent reminders of your next instalment payment date. So you'd get an email, a phone call perhaps, and text messages just to remind you to pay your rent instalment if you haven't set up a direct debit. We can do room exchanges for you as well. So if you're unhappy with where you're staying, or you just want a change of scenery, we can help you with that. We're also responsible for updating our own accommodation website. So the application process, which you need to do, is pretty simple. You can, as soon as you have a Brunel student number, whether you are firmly accepted with the university or not, you can apply. So as soon as you get that Brunel student number, my advice is to send that application through, put down your preferences of what you would like, your preference of halls. There is a section there as well that you can state if you want a certain floor, or you know, you want to, possibly you've made some friends already, you want to be with someone, put that on there. The more information we have, the better, because then we can try and put you somewhere, you know, to meet your expectations. Obviously we can't guarantee preferences, but we do try our very best, and we do get to see those notes. In order to be guaranteed accommodation for September, we have now extended our deadline date. It is the 5th of September. So in order for us to process your application, you will need to have an unconditional firm offer accepted to the university, and also submit your application. So as soon as you have that, we will be sending out room offers. Some of you may already have received your room offer. If you've applied already and you have an unconditional firm offer, those applications would have been processed in the first batch. Those that are waiting for A-level results, that's still absolutely fine. As soon as the A-level results are released, we will then start processing the applications. Provided you do it by the 5th of September, you are guaranteed a room on campus. If you do apply after the 5th of September, don't worry. We still will find you a room on campus. We get cancellations throughout the year. It may not be the room that you want, but we will try to meet your preference where we can. So the process to accept your room offer. Once we allocate you a room, you'll receive a license agreement by email. In the license agreement email, there will be information of how the acceptance process, what you would need to do. To secure this, you would need to make a payment of the deposit, which is £250. And then there will be the terms and conditions, which you'll just need to read through and then accept this online. You can, if you decide to cancel and for whatever reason you don't want to come to Brunel, or you've got visa issues, or you decide you don't want to live on campus, you can cancel your room by the 5th of September and get a full refund of your £250 back. Just want to say thank you for all your time. I will be here if you've got any questions, so happy to answer any questions. Thank you for your time for listening, and I'll let you type away. Okay, one of the first questions we've just received. So are meals included in the package? It's a very good question. All our halls are self-catered, so meals aren't included in your rent. However, we've got plenty of eateries on campus. We've got a canteen, shops, and local supermarkets as well, restaurants in the Uxbridge area. So there's plenty of places around that you can get food, and also you have your own kitchen where you can cook your own meals. Next question, can PG students have yearly contracts? Yes, our PG contract is from September 2020 all the way through to September 21. If you are a PG student, or even UG perhaps, and you prefer to have a contract from term 1, so just from September to January, we can offer you that. We're currently offering term 1 contracts in our Borough Road Hall complex that's been recently refurbished. Okay, I've got a question here. In the UK, will there still be a 14-day quarantine upon arrival? If yes, can we stay in Brunel accommodation for the 14-day quarantine period? Currently, obviously, we're following government advice. There is a 14-day quarantine in place for certain countries, so we are constantly checking the government website for that. With regards to the university's provisions for the quarantine period, this is currently being finalised. So at this point, what I can say is there will be a quarantine provision for students coming from quarantine areas. We will have this information finalised by August, and we will be able to relay this to all our students. Okay, the next question is, if we have conditional offer and we have completed the eligibility process, then can we apply for the same? Yes, I mean, if you, as long as you've got a Brunel student number, it doesn't matter what type of offer you're holding, whether it's conditional or whether it's unconditional firm, you can put your application through. Obviously, we need to wait until that offer turns unconditional firm, but you can still apply for a room, and you can still put through, you know, your first, second, third choice of accommodation, what you prefer. Next question, when is the date I can move in as an international student? Our moving in date is the 13th of September from Sunday. However, due to COVID, we're going to have staggered arrivals so that everyone is not arriving on the same day. So we were making it a safe kind of environment for students to move in. So it will be staggered arrivals between the 13th and the 20th of September. The exact details will be sent to you with arrival information and instructions prior to your arrival in August. The next question I have is, can we make any changes to the rental agreement that we receive? It depends what change you're after. If I can just get you to elaborate on this question. If you mean like changes in terms of the period, we could look into that. The standard contract periods for an undergraduate is September to June. For postgraduates, it's September to September, and then we have some exchange contracts as well, where there's term one, or they either come for 3 terms. So if you have a specific requirement as such, if you could email us at bac@brunel.ac.uk, we will be happy to look into that for you. What is provided in the uni halls room? Okay, so in the rooms you have your fixtures and fittings. So you will get a bed, a desk, a chair, and you get cupboard space for your clothes, etc. In the kitchen, you also get all the cooker, fridge, the main fixtures and fittings of the kitchen. We also provide a toaster and a microwave, so you won't need to bring that. Bedding is also provided in your rooms. The utensils, your pots and pans, you will need to bring yourself. We do offer, with an external company, kitchen packs. So if you would like and you don't really want to carry it to the UK, which I recommend get it from here, we also have nearby shops in the Uxbridge Town Centre where you can pick up utensils that aren't too expensive. Is there any room or studio available for couples? Yes, we do have studio accommodation on campus. It is mainly aimed at for couples, so the priority is given to couples. However, we do have some students who want to apply as a single occupant can also apply, and they are also offered rooms. We have limited studio rooms on campus, so I would advise, if you do want a studio flat, put your application in as soon as you can, because these are always in demand. We have a few 1-bedroom flats as well, which are slightly bigger than the studio flats and a little bit more expensive than the studio flats. Next question is, which hall complex would you recommend for PG students? Okay, so currently for PG students, we try to put them in an area where, you know, it's quiet for them, so that they can concentrate. And at the moment, we've got PG students in Isambard complex. We have a standard block as well, where all the PGs are grouped together in Clifton Hall. And then we also have, in the Lancaster complex, we also have the newly refurbished Borough Road Hall, and that has predominantly PG students in there as well. Next question is, I won't be on campus until January. When is the deadline to apply for winter housing? We don't have a deadline as such. So as soon as we house all our September, our application is just available, so you can just apply. So I would suggest, if you're not wanting a room until January, to put your application through towards the end of September and just state on it the date that you're intending to come in January. Do keep us updated with your arrival information, and then what we will do is, nearer to your arrival, we will contact you a couple of weeks before, asking you if your arrival date has changed or if you're coming later perhaps, and then giving you information of what accommodation is available, what you will need to pay in order to secure this. The next question is, will all sports scholars be in the Bishop complex? And yes, sports scholars are placed in the Bishop complex. Okay, so the next question is, how can we apply for studio flats for postgrad students, and what is the cost? So it's the same process. You just go onto the accommodation hub, and if you, when you get to the preference page, if you only want studio flat, if you just select, there's two options for a single room and a studio flat. You just select studio flat, and then you go through the process of, are you applying as a part of a couple, or are you applying as a single occupant? So these are our prices. So the studio flats, we have them at £233.03 a week, and then we have small one-bedroom flats at £274.19, and then the large one-bedroom flats are at £282.66. Okay, the next question is, can you apply for accommodation now before results day if you have a conditional offer? Yes, of course. As soon as you've got a Brunel student number, I would strongly advise, if you would like to stay on campus, to just send that application through. Next question is, my name is Joshua from Ghana. Hello, Joshua. Please, how do I apply for accommodation as a student sponsored by scholarship by my government? Okay, so Joshua, you would just need to submit your application online on the accommodation portal. I would suggest in the comments box, if you put down your exact scholarship that you have with the details, and then what we would normally do is contact our international team, get this verified, because if it is being funded by your government, etc., then we would be able to put a manual bypass on where you would just accept your contract without making the payment. And then once you arrive, that payment would be sorted out between us and the international team, and obviously yourself, to make the payment. Next question is, does campus fully open this fall? Yes, as far as I'm aware, we are making provisions in place. The campus will be functional from September. The relevant provisions are being put in place for your arrival, and we're pretty much very excited for it. Okay, the next question is, how often do you have to pay rent? Is it monthly? The rent installment is termly, so depending on what type of contract you have, for undergraduates, you have a rent installment due in October. Then it will be around, the second payment is around in January, and the third payment is in April. PG students have an extra payment in May due to their longer contract period. If you do experience that you can't make termly payments, where some students have experienced that, you can contact our student finance team and speak to them about your finances, and they can look into setting up a monthly financial arrangement if you prefer to do that instead. Okay, the next question is, what are the restrictions? What are the appliances that I can bring inside the room? Mini fridge, for instance. Good question. With regards to electrical items, it is advisable that you purchase these within the UK, because those that are bought from abroad aren't usually compatible to the health and safety here. Mini fridge, if you require this for medical reasons specifically, what you would need to do is once you're allocated a room, you would need to contact the residences team at res@brunel.ac.uk, let them know about your request, and then they will reply to you directly on how this provision and to give you authorization basically to have a mini fridge as such in your room. Next question is, hello, I already applied for accommodation, but that was before my offer was made unconditional. Do I need to reapply or send an email confirming my offer has been made unconditional to get a room allocated to me? If you already have applied for a room, but you're still waiting on your offer to be unconditional firm, you won't need to apply for accommodation again. So basically, we're just waiting for that offer to be unconditional firm, and then we will send you out your room allocation. Next question is, when will those holding an unconditional offer be sent accommodation confirmation email? Well, those that have already got an unconditional firm offer and you have applied for accommodation, you should have got your offer already. If you believe you have got an unconditional firm offer and you haven't received a room offer, I'd be very keen if you could email us directly so we can look into why you haven't received your room offer. Our email address is bac@brunel.ac.uk. Next question is, what about housekeeping? With the cleaning routine, this is going to be displayed in your kitchen. The kitchens are cleaned on a weekly basis, but I believe this is going to be increased due to COVID, and also the bathroom facilities within the standard halls are cleaned on a daily basis. Each flat will display a cleaning rota in the kitchen for everyone to see. Hi, what will be the plan for applicants that decide to come on campus late due to coronavirus, for example, after September in January 2021? Yeah, you just apply as normal. So if you just apply for your accommodation, I would suggest end of September or anything after end of September to let us know when you're intending to come in January, and then we'll be in touch with you a couple of weeks before your arrival. I mean, you may decide to come in November or October, and that's absolutely fine. So whenever you do decide, just submit your application with your comments of your arrival date. Do keep us updated, and then we will send you out a room offer. Will the first time paying rent be on the same day student finance is given? If you're referring to the loan payments of Student Finance England, then yes, usually our payment dates are in line with when students get the loan payments. However, just be advised, if you do pay late, it's nothing to worry about. We wouldn't chase you for that. It's just try and pay as soon as you can. Next question is, can I still secure a room on campus if I plan to study online in term 1 and only arrive in the UK in January? The answer is yes, of course. If you just need to be aware that if you do decide to take up the online study from September, then obviously don't secure the room from September, because I mean, it's up to you. You could pay for it, but you're not going to be here. So book a room from when you do want the room. So say, for example, you're studying online term 1, but then decide to come in January. So then apply for your room for January, and then we can offer you a room from the date that you arrive in January. Next question is, can PG students extend their contract after the end of their course? It depends. It depends on your course end date. The majority of PG courses, so the accommodation is in line with that. So the last day would be 10 a.m. I believe it's the 16th of September the following year. But if you need it for a few days or possibly a month or so, we wouldn't be able to extend your contract, only because we need to prepare the rooms for the next intake of students. But if you're on a PG contract, PG course, which is for 2 years, which some are, then yes, you will be able to have apply for accommodation for the following year, so you're here for the 2 years. Next question is, how much is an accommodation with an ensuite bathroom? Just going to share you my screen now. So we have a range of prices. These are all on our website as well, just to let you know, and these are the charges for next session. So I'll just go through. So standard room currently, the weekly rent starts at £118.79. And then we have the ensuite rate, which starts with Millhall. We've got £163.80, and then it can go all the way up to about 201.60. So there's quite a difference in price range. Obviously, this depends on the refurbishment of what's happened with these halls, etc. Our most recent hall, which has been refurbished, is Borough Road Hall, which is at 201.60. Okay, the next question is, if you have a conditional offer, will you find out which room you've been allocated on results day? That's correct, yeah. So if you've got a conditional offer at the moment, we wouldn't offer you anything until your results are finalised. So if we get your results and you don't come via clearing, then yes, you will get this on results day. That's when we send out the offers, and then obviously after that, if you come via clearing, then it will be after that during that week. As a PG student who has an unconditional offer, can we apply for accommodation now? Yes, of course, absolutely. As long as you've got a Brunel student number, you can submit that application now, provided you know the unconditional firm offer is firmly accepted on our system, then yes, you will be sent a room offer. Next question is, what facilities are involved in the rent package? So within the rent, what's included is the bills. Obviously, you've got basic insurance, so if you need extended cover for like your devices, your laptops, anything vital important, then I would strongly recommend to get the extended insurance cover. You also have free Wi-Fi within your rent as well. The next question is, I have an unconditional offer and applied for accommodation a couple of months ago, but haven't received any confirmation by email for my room. What should I do? Okay, if you have got an unconditional firm offer, you should have received an offer by now. So if you haven't, you can either email me directly, or you can email our accommodation email address, which is bac@brunel.ac.uk, and we can look into this for you. Next question is, if I join on campus and want to leave the hall after a month, will there be a penalty? Yes, currently, if you do come and then decide to leave earlier than your contract end date, there is a vacating charge. It is in our rules and regulations, so do have a look at that before you do sign up for it. Usually it's about, you would be charged until the room is relet. Who will be in charge to clean rooms? You're responsible to clean your own room. So cleaning isn't provided for that. If you do want to get someone to clean your room, I think you can do this online, and there is a charge for that, but you're responsible for your own room. And if you have an ensuite room, then you're responsible for your own bedroom and your bathroom. However, if you're in standard accommodation, then you're responsible for the cleaning of your bedroom, but the bathroom is cleaned by the university. And obviously any communal area like your kitchen, the hallways, that's cleaned by our staff. Next question is it possible for first year undergraduate to apply for the studio rooms? Yes, of course. The applications for studios is for every year group. Priority is given to postgraduate researcher students. However, we do set aside rooms for fresher students as well, so that they get the experience of living in a studio flat if they wish to do so. I would also strongly advise, if you have put down studio, it is always in demand. If we're unable to offer you a studio flat, do consider taking an ensuite room as well. And what tends to happen is, if you don't get a studio flat for whatever reasons, if we're full, you still will remain on the waiting list for a studio. So should a studio flat become available, which it does happen, we can then offer it to you as a room exchange. Next question is, what if I will be able to join Brunel by midterm November. What month will I be billed? You only pay for the room from when the contract starts. So we wouldn't charge you for something that you were not here for. So if your contract begins in November and that's when you wanted the room, you will be charged from that date. Next question is, I have already received the unconditional offer from Brunel, but when I try to apply for a room, I can't because it says the website is on maintenance. How long is this going to take? Thank you. Yes, thanks for that. Thanks for your patience in this. We've had to do some urgent maintenance with our accommodation portal. So it is currently offline, but it is coming back online on Monday, UK time, 8 AM. Do you have any rooms with kitchen and bathroom facilities? Yes, all our rooms have these. So each room, whether it's an ensuite, standard, or even studio, they all have a kitchen and bathroom facilities. Those that are within an ensuite and standard area, the rooms are basically you're within a flat, so you share the kitchen with your other flatmates, and if you're in standard accommodation, you share the bathroom and the kitchen with your other flatmates. When will the application date for January start? There's no start date for applications as such. You can apply anytime you want. So there's no deadline date for it and there's no start date. So whenever you decide that you want to stay on campus for January, just put your application through. I would suggest that if you do want a room for January, put that application through, I would say, around end of September. Because now we're just housing all the students that want a room from September. But if you want to put it through now, that's absolutely fine as well. Just make a note on your application that your application is for January only and not for September, just so that we don't end up offering you a room for September. Next question is, I intend to join university in January due to the COVID-19 situation in my country. If I apply for accommodation in October, will I be guaranteed ensuite accommodation? As a fresher student, you're the highest priority for accommodation. The guarantee for accommodation is until the 5th of September. Anything after that, it is usually due to availability. But like I said, as a first year student, you're our top priority, and we do get cancellations throughout the year, and we will have room. So you don't need to worry about that. So as long as we know when you're arriving and you keep us informed of that, we will try and make sure that we offer you something. We can't guarantee a preference, I'm afraid. It all depends on what we've got available. So we will try, but it's just to manage your expectations. It all depends on the availability. Should we pay a deposit through the internet or in cash when we arrive? The deposit will need to be paid when you receive the room offer. So as soon as you get the room offer, it will state on there the deadline date to make the payment and accept. So you get a small window in which to pay and accept. So I would advise that if you are intending to come in September, that you have the money ready when the offer is sent out. We will prompt you to make the payment and remind you. We usually do 3 sets of reminders, and then we would email you. And if you don't pay and accept by the deadline date, your offer can be cancelled. But if that does happen, I don't want anyone to panic. Just contact us, submit the application again, and we can offer you another room. So it's not a problem. If you do have difficulty in paying, do reach out and let us know, and there can be provisions that can be made. So do let us know if you have got circumstances where, for whatever reason, you're unable to make a payment. Next question is, considering the 14-day quarantine for international students, if we wish to travel to London on 1st of September 2020, i.e. 14 days prior to registration, can we move into our rooms on the 1st? Yes, I mean, it all depends on how the government advice will be in September. It's changing every day. So if you are arriving early, you do need to notify us. We will be providing you further information. Like I said, it will be available on our website, the quarantine measures that the university is going to be putting in place. So the date you are arriving. Once it's confirmed, obviously if we can provide you with the quarantine rooms, then yes, we will be able to accommodate you on the date that you arrive. Next question is, are visitors allowed? Yes, you are allowed visitors in your room. You will need to notify your residences team of who the visitors are, etc., with their details. Visitors can, I mean, if you're talking about someone staying overnight, that can happen as well. You would need to let the residences team know. Next question is there a single sex accommodating hall at Brunel? Yes, these are usually the standard accommodation where you have to share the bathroom and kitchen. The ensuite halls do tend to be mixed gender flats, only because you have your own bathroom and you're just sharing the kitchen. So just to bear in mind, if you are looking for single gender flats, these are usually standard accommodation. However, you just need to note that those within your flat, they are obviously allowed to have visitors in their flat, like their friends, for example, who may be a different gender. So just to bear in mind that they're not exclusively single gender flats. Is there any area to park cycles near halls, and are they likely to get stolen? We do have cycle storage facilities on campus. I haven't ever heard that they get stolen, so I wouldn't worry about that. You can arrange this, I believe, with the student centre, but you may need to get this checked. But you can store your cycles there. Rest assured, we have 24/7 security presence on campus and cameras everywhere, so it is a very safe campus. Next question is Faraday Hall a good place for an undergraduate student? Absolutely. Faraday is a really nice hall. That was renovated, I think, a couple of years ago. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, I would recommend Faraday. We have that for undergraduates. We don't have it for postgraduates, just for undergraduates at the moment. Next question is, what are the major perks available for on-campus as compared to off-campus? Good question. I guess you're in like a little community feel and everything is on site. The best perk is, I would say, is you can literally wake up and you can stroll into a lecture. You don't even need to go far. We are a compact university, whereas all our accommodation is on site. There aren't that many universities that have that provision, so we're quite lucky in that sense. And you've got all the various departments that you could just go and see. You've got student centre, you've got us, you've got the residences team. So if there's anything wrong in your flat, you can report it straight away online. Whereas when you're off campus, you need to be careful when you go with private landlords. We have had incidents where students have paid more than they actually should. So you do get a lot of security on campus and you are kind of protected in a way. If you do kind of find yourself that you can't pay, or if you've got any issues with anyone or flatmates, or if you've got any well-being concerns, we have residences ambassadors that also reside on campus. They hold kitchen meetings. When you join, you'll be part of a WhatsApp group. We introduce that to everyone on campus. So therefore, you can connect with those students within your flat and make friends. That was a big success. We've used it for 2 years now. So there's a lot of benefits. We've also got loads of nice places to eat on campus as well. And you're really close to London as well. You can just hop on the train. So, I mean, I'm not being biased, but I would highly recommend on campus. And from my experience, I have come to know students that have gone off campus and then actually they always come back to us. So you'll find it's a great environment to stay in and it will be something that you'll treasure forever. Okay, the next question is, may I know the start date for the rental period since I can only arrive UK early or mid-October? Is the contract duration fixed or can we have a special amendment for the rental contract? Okay, I'll just break down your question a bit because there's a few things to address here. So the start date of the contract for all students is the 13th of September. However, if you are coming later and would like a later start date, then you can apply later for example, mid-October. But just to make you aware, if you secure a room and a contract from the 13th of September and you arrive late, then you are paying for your room from when we're holding your room. So if you prefer, I mean, it depends, it's a personal choice. Some students prefer to have their room booked from the 13th of September, and then they have that security that they've got a room even if they arrive late in mid-October, and that's up to you. But then there's other students who prefer, actually, I don't want to hold my room from the 13th September, I would rather move in mid-October. But just be a little bit mindful. There are pros and cons to both. How, you know, eager are you to get your first choice? You're most likely to get your first choice if you start in September. You know, October, yes, we will have a room, but it's just depending. We may not be able to provide you with your preference. So it's something that you need to make that personal choice of. Then the next part of your question was, is the contract duration fixed, or can we have a special amendment for the rental contract? The contract periods are, we have obviously the UG length contract, which is September to June, and then we have the PG length contract, which is September to September. However, if you wish to have something a bit more separate or different or slightly, you know, that suits you, get in contact with us directly. I can't guarantee it, but we will try and see what we can do for you. We can offer a term 1 contract, so if you just want to come for September up until the beginning of January, we can offer you that. Okay, the next question is, as a student from Ghana, if I applied for a school accommodation in September, will I be isolated in my hostel upon arrival, or will I be isolated in a different place for the 14-day period? Good question. Again, the quarantine period, we're still getting the government advice, so we are planning for quarantine measures, but we obviously don't know what's going to happen in September at the moment. I don't have the finalised information for you, sadly, for the quarantine period. However, we will have this for you all in August, and more than likely you might be placed in a separate hall before you actually move to your room, just so that we keep the quarantine students separately to those that are just arriving, because there's a mixture of students arriving, there's home students arriving as well, so we wouldn't want to mix the two students. The next question is, can we bring someone to help us to put our things into our rooms? Usually students do, they do bring family members or friends, and that is absolutely fine. Obviously this year, due to COVID, we have to put measures in place on the people that are coming and the limiting numbers, so that's why we're going to have staggered arrivals. But this will be part of your arrival information. There will be clear instructions on campus, because obviously depending on, you know, the one-way traffic system or the usage of lifts, etc., that will all be explained in your arrival email. Next question is, how are the payments? Can I pay monthly? Yes, the payments are termly. So for undergraduate students, you have 3 termly installments. For postgraduates, you have 4. However, if you do want to pay monthly and that suits you better, I would strongly advise, once you arrive, if you contact our student centre team, they'll liaise with our student finance team and just explain that you would prefer a monthly payment due to your financial circumstances. So you'd have to fill out a financial arrangement form, and then they will be able to put those provisions in place for you. Next question is, are pets allowed to be in housing? Unfortunately not. We're very sorry. Pets aren't allowed unless it is a registered dog for those who have got disabilities. Okay, the next question is there laundry available? Yes, there's laundry facilities in each block. So within your complex, you have certain blocks, and within each block, usually on the ground floor, there is laundry facilities. There's washer and dryer, and it's at a very small cost. I think it's a couple of pounds, but we can get this checked for you. It's on our website as well, and you can top this up via an app as well. So it's pretty cool, and you don't need to go far anyways. It's literally in your block. Okay, the next question is, for someone coming to the UK for the first time, would you recommend staying on campus or off campus for PG? Oh, good question. I would still suggest on campus. The reason being is because your studies are going to be probably intense. You're probably going to be spending a lot of time in the library, and depending on how you study, because I know I sometimes I used to study as a night owl, and sometimes you just want to like study and just stroll into bed. So you're better off being on campus for that reason. And also you get to interact with all the students that currently stay on campus as well. We do have a big presence of PG students on campus, and I think it's a very nice environment to be in. Hi, I did email the accommodation team regarding the issue of not receiving my confirmation, yet even though I'm holding an unconditional offer and I was told that I'll be getting confirmation after the release of A-level results, so should I email them again? I'm not sure what's happened there. So could I just suggest if you can email me directly so I can have a look into it. If you had an unconditional firm offer, you would have received an offer by now, unless they checked and at the time you were only holding an unconditional offer, but would have to check that for you. So if you could email me, that would be great and I could check that. How much is the cheapest accommodation? It's standard accommodation, which is £118.79 per week. That's the cheapest accommodation that we currently have on campus. So that's a standard room. You have your own bedroom. It's got a wash basin in the room, and you share the bathroom and kitchen facilities. Next question is, roughly how many people will share a kitchen, particularly in Bishop Hall? That's a good question. So our flats are usually tend to be flats of 10. Very rare you'll find a flat which is less than 10, so it might be 5 or possibly 4 in some of the flats, but they are majority 10. So it's between, so you'll be sharing with 9 other people the kitchen. But don't worry, within the kitchen there is enough facility, cooking facility for 10 students. So you don't just get one cooker, you get a couple of cookers, and you get enough fridge, freezer space, and also cupboard space. You have your own cupboard where you can store all your kitchen utensils and crockery in there. The next question is, what is the minimum contract period? Can I get a contract of like 2 to 4 months? I'm an international undergraduate student. Yeah, so the minimum contract period currently we have is for term 1, so it's from September to January. We don't really offer anything shorter than that, but I'll be keen to know if you could email us directly how short of a contract you're looking for, and then we can look into it. We'd have to do that as a case by case, but normally there's set contract periods for all the students. Next question is, where can we collect our packages if we get any? So the packages you normally collect from the distribution centre that's on campus. You usually will get notified when you do have a package delivered for you. Also, we have Amazon lockers. So if you do order something via Amazon, you can collect this via the Amazon lockers. Next question is, are you allowed to have friends over in your halls of residence? Yep, you are allowed to have friends over. That's absolutely fine. You will need to alert your residences manager, let them know that you are having guests over in your hall, and just be considerate for your flatmates, and I would say keep the noise levels down. Next question is, can we keep irons in our room? You can get a personal iron for yourself. An iron and ironing board is provided in the kitchen, but if you want to have your own iron, that's absolutely fine. But what I would recommend is please do use the ironing board, just to make sure it's safe. You do it in a safe way, and unplug it as well. Next question is, good afternoon, Iram. Good afternoon to you as well. Let's say I sign a 1-year contract to secure the same room for my PG program, but I prefer to pay rent on a monthly basis. Is that acceptable? Yes, that's absolutely fine. I am aware that some students prefer to pay monthly. That's absolutely fine. What you would need to do is, once you arrive, you just need to contact our student centre team, who liaise with our finance team, and if you ask for a student financial arrangement form, you need to request that, and then you will need to just complete that and give your case forward of why you want to pay monthly. Usually it is accepted, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. Next question is, in shared accommodation, how many people would you share a bathroom with? Is that also 10? It's between 5 and 10, but there is enough bathroom facilities for the student. Because if you have a look at the hall plans, how the halls are laid out. So for example, in Clifton, you've got 5 students in one flat. So basically those 5 students would be, it's between 4 and 5, you share the bathroom facilities, and around the flats are like an arch shaped, and then you have the kitchen in between the flat of 10. Can you redecorate your room? Oh, that's a good question. We wouldn't want you to start painting the walls or retiling the floor, please. But if you want to make it homely with accessories, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, I mean, it depends what redecorate you're talking about. If you want to get some like cushions and, you know, different bedding for yourself, or, you know, you've got a poster board, so you can put posters up if you want, and pictures and stuff like that. That's all permissible. But no painting or changing the carpets. I wouldn't recommend that. Okay, the next question is, I have an offer for a standard room and I've already paid for the deposit. I have not accepted the rent agreement yet as the site is under maintenance. What wanted to know is if I upgrade my room to an ensuite one, if yes, how should I go about this? Okay, yeah, so apologies for the website. It is down at the moment, but it will be up and running on Monday. So if you are undecided and you prefer an ensuite room, I would rather you just email us and let us know that you want an ensuite room, and we'll just get that changed for you. That's not a problem. But if you want to keep the standard room for now, you can accept that. So, and if you decide at a later date that you want to change, there is a room exchange form online. It is probably easier for us to change the room now. So if you are thinking of changing, now is probably the best time. Okay, the next question is, if I have a parent wanting to stay with me for a couple of days, I am an international student, will that be okay? Yes, you are allowed one visitor in your room for a maximum of about 3 days, 3 nights, but you do need to let your residences team know with their details with who's staying in your room. We also have a hotel on campus too, so if your parents decide they prefer to stay in the hotel that's on site, they can stay there as well. Okay, I think that's come to the end of our questions. It was great speaking to you all, and your questions have been great. If you have any questions after this, or something I haven't addressed, I'm happy for you to contact me directly or contact my team, where we'll be more than happy to help you guys. We are very excited to welcome you to Brunel, so hope you do choose us and we will not disappoint. Take care of yourselves. Thank you and bye-bye.